Hello and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Hannah Wallace and we're at IFGS in London during UK FinTech Week. With me now is the CEO of Innovate Finance, Janine Hirt. Hi Janine, thanks very much for taking the time out of the busy event to come and speak with us.
Hannah, thank you so much for inviting me.
Really good to have you on, and like I say, you've been very busy during this year's event as well, up on stage doing a really good job to highlight the main themes this year. And one of those is the impact the fintech industry is having on the economy and also society at large. So let's start there. Could you relay some of those thoughts to us now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so exciting to see that the impact of fintech in terms of our economy, our society, our daily lives, and we've seen this over the past 10 years. But just to put this into perspective, we know today, for example, 8 out of every 10 adults in the UK are using at least one fintech tool on a regular basis. Yeah. When you think about SME lending, more than 55%, somewhere around 60% of all SME lending in the UK is being done by challenger banks or by fintechs as well. So there's a huge impact on our day-to-day lives already, and we're really continuing to see that grow.
Yeah, there's no doubt we've really reached a level of maturity, haven't we? So how are you seeing the investment landscape, and what about the adoption rate? What's your outlook there?
Hannah, it's a great question. We, of course, every year put out at Innovate Finance our investment landscape. For 2022, the numbers were actually relatively encouraging, even despite the fact that it was a difficult economic year. Yeah. We saw more than $12.5 billion of investment come into the UK fintech ecosystem, wow. Second only in the world to the United States, and actually ahead of the next 13 European countries combined behind us. So yes, it was less than 2021, but it was actually more than any other year with the exception of 2021. So really are positive for fintech going forward.
All right, and I think one of the big areas is regulation, as always, and there are some challenges there. So do you think that we need to see more from the regulators going forward then? What are your thoughts around that?
So we've been, I would say, lucky in a way here in the UK, because one of the reasons that we stand out at the forefront of fintech is because we've always historically had a rather proactive regulator, a forward-thinking regulator. It's really important that we now continue to have that proactivity as we look ahead with new technologies. It's quite important that we also think about creating proportionate regulation for some of these new products, ultimately for the consumer to be better off at the end of the day as well.
All right, thanks for that, Janine. Certainly a space to keep an eye on there. And another big topic that you've done very well to cover at IFGS is the importance of diversity, inclusion, and how culture can encourage those. So what are your thoughts there, and what do you hope to see more from the industry there?
Yeah, it's so important that if we are going to continue to succeed as a sector, that we drive greater diversity across our entire industry. Yeah. And that is gender diversity. I'm looking at the stats around investment, for example. Of that $12.5 billion I mentioned earlier, less than 5% of that went to female-founded or female-led firms. And it goes beyond gender diversity. Mm-hmm. It goes looking at racial diversity, ethnic diversity, socioeconomic diversity, LGBTQIA+ diversity, neurodiversity as well. It's incredibly important that we, in an industry that is catering to a diverse group of consumers, have that diversity reflected within our own companies and within our own culture. And so building on the diversity piece, the inclusion piece, we need to make sure that we have positive culture and that we have proper governance in place as we scale.
That's wonderful. And Janine, may I just add, it's been a fantastic event. Thank you so much for coming away from the busy event to come and speak with us. And I'll let you get back. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hannah, and thank you for having me.